So this is Baruch here with the Tikkun Elevator Kollel, and I'm adding another shiur here on this evening's shiurim. This illuminating expositions on Jewish thought. This is one of the most delicious farm that I've ever come across. That Aryeh Kaplan, I learned this 30 or 40 years ago. I don't know, but he's been gone a long time. But what he wrote is still alive. It's still great. So let's go in here to this book. This is the Aryeh Kaplan anthology. This is volume one. Illuminating Expositions on Jewish Thought and Practice by a Revered Teacher. Now let's just take a little bit of look at the table of contents. The first sefer, or the first part of this, let me get this lined up good. So the first part of this is going to be concerning with Maimonides' 13 principles. So there's a preface, there's an introduction, and then he goes through the 13 principles, and each word that he uses in these things are golden. Then there's another sefer that he's going to be getting to, which is called the Infinite Light, to understand what is the concept of the Ein Sof Baruch Hu. And he has another sefer which he wrote, which is called If You Were God. So he says the problems, the questions, the solutions, the conclusions, immortality and the soul. Meet the real you. Sounds a little bit like Rabbi Memra. So he said, then westward is a world of love. And he has 10 chapters there. The next part is called The Real Messiah, which is another book. A practical guide to the missionary problem. Why aren't we Christians? When a Jew becomes a Christian, from Messiah to Christ. Ecumenicism and Dialogue, 1263 CE of the Common Era. That's written by Rabbi Beryl Wine. So he has some other authors in here, apparently. So then the next question is, was Jesus the real Messiah? Let's examine the facts. Jesus in the Bible, Aryeh Kaplan. Behold the man, the real Jesus, Aryeh Kaplan. The real Messiah, Aryeh Kaplan. My way back, a girl's story is told to Aryeh Kaplan. We are a Jewish people that has been beaten, massacred, pushed all the way around the world, but we're still here. And when we get a chance, as we have in the United States, we come back and we start digging into Torah and start living Jewish lives again. So let's read a little bit. As great as the message is the man who brought the message. This is a forward and appreciated by the author by Rabbi Pinchas Stolper, who is a great rabbi in the Northeast. He writes like this. Aryeh Kaplan lives on through the writings he left behind, a living legacy of piercing and penetrating thought. Who else but Aryeh Kaplan, and he says Rabbi Aryeh Kaplan, possessed the magic touch with which to make complicated mystical, philosophical, and religious concepts come to life with clarity, simply and force, simplicity and force. Only he was able to lower his pail deep into the well springs of our tradition, deeper than had been done in the English language until this time. It actually says until his time, and bring us refreshing and revealing Torah thoughts. He says religious concepts are often difficult to understand and for many are elusive and unattainable. Rabbi Kaplan possessed the rare ability to bring them into focus. He had the special gifts and talents which made it possible to connect science to Torah, philosophy to action, mysticism to logic and clarity of thought. He knew how to take abstract concepts and give them life. He had the talent to restore faith, to bring God's living message to our hearts and minds. Despite the fact that he was a deep and distinguished scholar, a real Talmud Chacham, who had mastered all branches of the Torah and the Talmud, he possessed a common touch. He understood how people think and was able to translate deep and complicated concepts into everyday language. Rabbi Aryeh Kaplan's meteoric rise as one of the most effective, persuasive, scholarly, and prolific exponents of Judaism in the English language came to an abrupt end on January 28, 1983, with his sudden death at the age of 48. He was a multifaceted, uniquely creative and talented author, scholar, thinker, rabbi, and educator who touched the lives of thousands. The 52 volumes that were his life's work accounted for a qualitative and quantitative leap in Jewish publishing, making a host of difficult topics and concepts available to the English reading public. In the course of a writing career spanning only 12 years, Aryeh Kaplan became known to Jewish youth and adult readers for such books as The Waters of Eden, The Mystery of the Mikveh, Sabbath, The Day of Eternity, God, Man, and Tefillin, Tzitzis, The Thread of Light, The Light Beyond, Adventures in Hasidic Thought, which is an anthology, The Handbook of Jewish Thought, The Behir, a commentator and translation, Meditation and the Bible, Meditation and the Kabbalah, Jewish Meditation, and Made in Heaven, a Jewish wedding guide. Rabbi Kaplan was a resourceful and creative translator. As his sweeping and highly readable translation of the 5 books of Moses, the Living Torah, attests, Rabbi Kaplan also translated The Way of God, which is Rabbi Chaim Luzzato's Derech Hashem, the 17-volume Torah anthology, a translation of Rabbi Yaakov Kuli's Me'am Lo'ez, the classic Sephardic commentary on the Torah, the Passover Haggadah, and Rabbi Nachman's Wisdom, the writing of Rabbi Nachman of Breslov. Most of his books have been translated into Hebrew, Russian, Spanish, and even Dutch. Rabbi Kaplan was born in New York City and was educated in the Torah Vadat at Das and Mir Yeshivas in Brooklyn. After years of study at Jerusalem's Mir Yeshiva, he was ordained by some of Israel's foremost rabbinic authorities. He also earned a master's degree in physics and was the youngest person to be listed in Who's Who in Physics in the United States. I use my physics background to analyze and systematize data, very much as a physicist would deal with physical reality, Rabbi Kaplan once said. He says, I first encountered this extraordinary individual when by chance I spotted his article on immortality, I'll say it again, immortality in the soul. In Intercom, the journal of the Association of Orthodox Jewish Scientists, and was taken by his unusual ability to explain a difficult topic, one usually reserved for advanced scholars, a topic almost untouched previously in English, with such simplicity that it could be understood by any intelligent reader. It was clear to me that his special talent could fill a significant void in English Judaica. I always counted as one of my greatest zechusim, that's translated as a spiritual merit granted by God, to have had the privilege of discovering Rabbi Kaplan. And once we met, we became lifelong friends. When I invited Rabbi Kaplan to write on the concept of tefillin for the Orthodox Union's National Conference of Synagogue Youth, he completed the 96-page manuscript of God, Man, and Tefillin, with sources and footnotes from the Talmud, Midrash, and Zohar. He did this in less than 2 weeks. The book, masterful, comprehensive, inspiring yet simple, set a pattern which was to characterize all of his succeeding works. A soft-spoken, unassuming individual, modest despite his spreading renown and popularity, Aryeh Kaplan was an activist for NCSY, which is a group that works on bringing people back to Torah, young people. A firm believer in acquainting unaffiliated and alienated Jewish youth with their heritage. He attended numerous events and was the center of attraction at many national conventions. He truly believed that NCSY possessed the power to bring new spiritual energies to the Jewish community. This confidence has been borne out through the scores of NCSY graduates who became Torah scholars, Rosh Yeshiva Rabbanim, Torah educators, and communal leaders. He was a prime force behind the Tshuva movement, the bringing people back to Torah, the modern movement of return to Jewish observance. Throughout history, Jews have always been observant, he noted in an interview. The Tshuva movement is just a normalization. The Jewish people are sort of getting their act back together again. We are just doing what we are supposed to be doing. Indeed, his books reflect a similar upbeat philosophy. The message he tried to get across was that Judaism is a live, growing concern. A person looking for meaning in life need not go anywhere else. That's going to be it for today on Aryeh Kaplan. Before we get into the book, we got a couple more introductions, but we need to know who this great, great man was. And you will see as we start to read this book how golden his words are. This is Baruch Flashman.